How are y'all doing? The city that I chose to do this project on is San Juan, Puerto Rico. I was actually fortunate enough to just travel there over this break, so taking this online class and seeing San Juan be on the list of cities that we could pick, I was pretty excited for that just because I did have my own personal knowledge of that. So this is my PowerPoint. This is a map of San Juan, Puerto Rico right here. A nice port that runs in. This was used by Spain back in the day for military reasons. Geography and environmental features of San Juan, Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico and the city of San Juan is the next island in line after Cuba and the Dominican Republic, located in the Caribbean. Much of the island consists of beautiful beaches, clear water, and healthy reef line on the outer edge. As you make your way across the middle of the island, there's a lot of bluff peaks and little mountains, as well as creeks and landlocked lakes. So the geography of Puerto Rico is actually kind of different than I expected. I kind of expected just, I guess, a beach island with sand and trees, but there's actually a lot more rock there than you would think. Just big boulders and rock peaks that come up. Just, I wouldn't call it a mountain like you'd see in Tennessee or Alabama, but just kind of miniature mountains, but they're still really jagged and steep. Just island mountains. It was really cool terrain. Honestly, it was really cool hiking through the woods there. Just different animals, different plants, different trees, just different everything. It's just an island environment. A few main cities make up this island, with San Juan being the largest, as well as the center of the most Puerto Rican travel. There's pretty much one airport on the island that's commercialized, so all the travel goes out of San Juan for the most part. It's the biggest tourist city by far, has the most restaurants, stuff like that. But there's a lot of good cities through the island as well besides San Juan. That's definitely the most popular. History of San Juan. San Juan is the oldest city under U.S. jurisdiction, being named San Juan Bautista in 1493 by Christopher Columbus. So I found this very interesting. I honestly did not know that Christopher Columbus founded Puerto Rico. There was obviously locals there before he landed his ship there, but I still found that very interesting. Shortly after, in 1508, Spain took control, making Juan Ponce de Leon the first governor of Puerto Rico, and they would then start using the island strategically for military purposes. So I found this very interesting too. Being from Florida, I've always heard about Ponce de Leon. I've been to St. Augustine, visited the city, visited the fort, and in San Juan there's a fort that is very similar to the fort in St. Augustine. I kind of realized that when I was there, just never put the two and two together till doing this project, and I found out that Ponce de Leon pretty much founded San Juan, was the first governor, and San Juan is the oldest city under United States jurisdiction, with St. Augustine being the second oldest city and the first oldest city on the mainland of the United States. So that's pretty cool, I think, that I've been to the two oldest cities in the U.S. I'll own that. Spain used San Juan for military purposes. It has a port that comes in, like I said on the first slide, showing you that map. The port was pretty much almost landlocked, so they could defend it from all sides, where the mouth kind of came in, and then they could keep their ships protected up in the mainland of the island. The city of San Juan was made official in 1521 by Ponce de Leon. Development of the city. San Juan started getting developed originally by Spain after it was founded by Ponce de Leon in 1521, as well as a few other small settlements he had founded prior. Many of the buildings resemble old Spanish construction. Puerto Rico is very colorful. There's a lot of like yellows, pinks on buildings and houses like that. Kind of just older Spanish construction, as you would imagine. All the downtown areas were really tight built together. Pretty much everything's made out of concrete, and pretty much just like big strip malls. There was apartments built on top of most of the buildings, so if you had a restaurant or a business, there'd usually be an apartment on top where probably that business owner would be living in. Many of the buildings built out of concrete, being that the island often has high winds and big storms, and there is now modern construction going up all around the city. Improvements are being made by the day, and this should help San Juan's tourism as well as the way it functions, with the tourist population rising. Many places now resemble a normal downtown setting in a modern U.S. city. So after the hurricane, many places in Puerto Rico have been rebuilt, repowered, modernized. The city of Rincon, where I stayed at, 2 hours from San Juan, is pretty much an American town, I'd say now. There's a lot of white people there, surfer guys, I guess, if you want to call them that have gone down there and started their own businesses and helped rebuild areas in Puerto Rico that needed it. So that was pretty cool to see. San Juan design and layout. The city has an older looking design to it, with downtown starting to become outdated and hard to navigate because of skinny roads. The city is built in block sections, and all the buildings are built together for the most part, resembling long strip malls and usually consisting of apartments located on top of businesses and restaurants. San Juan is right on the ocean and has a big port as well as an airport, making it Puerto Rico's main travel hub. A lot of people choose to walk, being that the traffic can definitely become congested with the lack of street signs and stoplights. That was definitely the biggest culture shock for me, was just outdated roads, really. You come from the US, you have a stoplight pretty much every intersection you come to where here it's kind of like your own discretion. And drivers down here, I'd say, are a lot more aggressive. They kind of just they'll pull out in front of you, and it's kind of like their own style of driving. There's not many wrecks and accidents that happen. The drivers are very good, but it's just a different style. Major problems for San Juan. A corrupt government has been known to hold the island back from all its potential, as well as its dwindling local population, as many people seek to get off the island and head to mainland US to seek better opportunity. Not many ways to make good money in a tough economy makes it hard on Puerto Rican locals. Major hurricanes in the past few years were devastating for the island, but they are now coming out of the major rebuild stage. COVID also had a large impact, just like everywhere else, and on top of that, Puerto Rico has a massive debt built up. And that's pretty much the major problems. We did hear from some locals down there that the government was pretty corrupt in a money sense. So hopefully that'll work out for them, because it's a beautiful island, and I think with the United States coming more on board, helping them out, we'll definitely get them on the right track. Tourist attractions on the island. This would include all kinds of places to surf, kayak, paddleboard rentals, pretty much anything outdoors. If you like to hike, there's awesome waterfalls all over the island. We did a lot of that, and it was a great time. It is probably not an ideal destination for certain people, but if you're an adrenaline junkie looking to satisfy your taste of adventure, this is definitely the place for you. Visiting San Juan. San Juan was a very gorgeous place. Most of the locals were extremely nice and very welcoming. They made us feel at home and made it clear that as Puerto Rican locals, they love being a part of the United States. After the major hurricane that crushed Puerto Rico a few years back, many places have been rebuilt and are new. Many good restaurants and bars that have been somewhat Americanized in the streets of San Juan and other big cities. It can be hectic, but when the right places you're in feel like you're the only one on the island. With its beautiful island scenery, it consists of waves breaking on its outer reef and many miles of shoreline jungle. I honestly cannot wait to go back here. It was a great time, and I hope you enjoyed my PowerPoint.